Welcome back for the second half of the Dr. Hildy Show, where today Dr. Hildy and her guests are discussing a variety of art, science, and medicine. For the first half of today's show, or to view all our shows archived for your immediate free download, please visit OneCellOneLightRadio.wordpress.com. And now, here's Dr. Hildy.
Welcome back to our second hour, audience. And I would like to expand on what you were discussing, Robby, in reference to the blue-green algae, the must be important. I can't say the word right now. In not only how you were growing it, but the more nutrients that a plant or the algae can absorb into it is highly beneficial because it will have a very good life force, a bioluminescence within itself.
We're pretty excited about it, and we're hoping the results come back as strong as we're already feeling. In testing the waters, we've already experienced some really great results, and now we're also adding a vortex or a life force, because in natural water, as it comes over a waterfall or maybe down a stream, it doesn't come straight out like we see it in a faucet. It actually meanders around a rock or over a stone or over a boulder, and that turbulence, that vortex, also adds an energy or a life force to the water that really is beneficial. So we're employing that vortex technology as well as the infrared frequency in our new filter application. So we're pretty excited about that. Now, earlier, just before, you mentioned about the bandage application, and that's kind of a fun one for us because, as I mentioned earlier in our first hour, we created an application that we call Therafusion. And Therafusion uses bioceramic micropowders, tourmaline, infrared powders. We grind these powders up into a very fine powder, and then we suspend them in a solution, and then we impregnate a cloth or a thread with that solution. So essentially, once the thread or the materials, biomaterials, are bound to the thread, you can't wash them out. The chemicals can't break that bond apart. So as long as that fabric is woven as a fabric, and you can machine wash these things, it maintains all of those health properties that we employ in our technology, the infrared and the negative ions. So one of the applications that I love is a product that we call a Therasage bandage. It's the format, again, using our ideology. It's something that's understood in everybody's homes. It's in a ace bandage format. Most people are comfortable with ace bandages. We offer a little compression so you get support from the bandage. And in that thread are these bioceramics that I just described that allow the body to recirculate these very important infrared frequencies. Again, if you've pulled a muscle, or let's say you have a trick knee, or you have a problem with your elbow joint, or even carpal tunnel around your hand, what you would do is you would just take this ace bandage and you'd wrap yourself up as you normally do. There's a little Velcro at the end that allows the bandage so you don't need any tape or any kind of device to keep the bandage stuck on your body, or hold on your body. And then you get that support in the joint that you need, because many of us, when we suffer some kind of an injury, we have to work anyway. We can't stop working, and it's so hard to work and keep your concentration at work if you've got breakthrough pain.
Right.
So if you're using the infrared frequency, either through a healing pad or in this application, because it's portable, you can use the pad at night to help you sleep, and maybe when you get home to relax and take the pain away. But then you got to get to work, and there, when you just wrap yourself up with this ace bandage, you keep the frequencies in the body intact. The muscle is kept warm. The connective tissues are supple, and they're more rubber-like or elastic-like. so you're less likely to re-injure yourself. The pain threshold is reduced, so you can concentrate more at work and basically get on with your life and back to your lifestyle that you're comfortable with.
Right, and it can amplify your own far infrared of your own body because of the materials that you've impregnated with it, in those areas. Example, like if you were doing your typing a lot and experienced carpal tunnel before you'd go to that surgery or anything, I personally would take vitamin B6 and use that thermofusion bandage on that area to allow that muscle area to heal.
Yeah, and it really has worked wonders for many, 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 many customers. Some customers were scheduled for amputees, maybe a toe or something on the type 2 diabetics if they suffer from circulation.
Right.
They've discovered renewed circulation, so the tissues are coming back, and sometimes, in some cases, have avoided surgeries. But for the pain and the stuff that, almost 1 out of 3 Americans suffer from some kind of pain. The numbers are staggering these days. And not to mention all the stress that's related to the normal living lifestyle these days and so forth, and using the infrared technology to calm the body down, to de-stress, to foster better sleep and better relaxation, really makes a big difference in the overall picture of your health and wellness, the longevity of your life, your general happiness. I know it's made a big difference to me and my family. It's virtually saved my daughter with her condition. Between the detox of the sauna and the pain reduction from the healing pad applications, she basically, even though she still has the Lyme infection, she lives symptom-free, she lives purposefully every day. She makes a contribution here at our work. She's very active in the Lyme community, helping other adolescents deal with many of their trials and tribulations from their conditions. I'm so proud of her in what she's done for other people to help other people. It makes a big difference. It really does.
Excellent. Also, I want to cover several other products and their use, because there's many detoxification applications. But since we're on the subject of pain, I know you manufacture a product called Emu Oil, paint cream, and you shared with me that it's been quite good for individuals with chronic pain or acute pain in certain areas.
Right, and the emu oil has been used by the Aborigine in Australia for the better part of 200 years. It's their panacea, so to speak, of applications for healing in many ways. What we've discovered, when you use a certain percentage of natural emu oil in our formulation, topographically, it will reduce pain tremendously. It works synergistically, so it can work in conjunction with the infrared frequency to help the body reduce pain. And what's nice about the pain cream application is it's easy. It comes in small little 1.3 ounce container. There's a 4 ounce tub too. And for people that are experiencing any kind of pain, to have the ability to just have a little application you can throw in your glove box of your car or in your purse to take that edge off makes all the difference in the world. Again, for the active adult, or individual that may be sports-minded or just you want to get back to your normal lifestyle, to have an application that is so portable, so easy to use. It's really, really great stuff. It's greaseless, so it soaks immediately into the body. It has an amazing, like a citrusy type fragrance to it, so it's very pleasing to smell. And in terms of helping with pain relief, it's a fantastic addition to our product line that works really great with all the other infrared products that we make.
I know when you mentioned the Aborigines, I know years ago I used to be involved with emu oil in reference to using it on the face, like mink oil and that for beauty. So it's interesting to find out that it has also been used in pain, And I bet because emu oil is not only thick, but it's got a lot of energy in it that probably does very good with cellular communication. In the years to come, Robby, we'll be reading the papers on it.
It's really fantastic. It's a formulation that we discovered about 5 years ago. It's the number one pain application, this formulation that's being used currently in China and a few of the other Asian countries. The formulation actually came from a biochemist that's in France, but it's compounded. That formulation is compounded here in the United States at a really wonderful facility in the Midwest. And so we're so proud that, to be able to develop a product here in the U.S. and develop it and sell it to, the U.S. marketplace.
Mm-hmm. That's important, especially with all different things that can be added to supplements or creams or anything when they're manufactured abroad, because they just don't have filter systems on the water. In certain areas. The other thing is that you shared with me before the show, on the first show that we did with you as our guest, that you also manufacture a bio bracelet. And I was interested in that because I have a lot of individuals that, do sports. They also feel electricity in their hands as a result of particles in their hand or, around the mouse or the cell phone. I don't even know if that has any application with the bio bracelet, but could you explain more about it?
Sure. The bio bracelets are really a fun application. I don't know where in my brain these ideas manifest. Usually it's in a dream at night. I know when I have a dream more than once about this stuff, Dr. Hildy, it's time to bring it to the marketplace. Mm-hmm. So the bio bracelet application came to me. You've probably seen them in the market. Lance Armstrong had a bracelet that became very popular. People were wearing them. So what we decided to do was to take this bioceramic technology, the TheraFusion technology that I mentioned earlier, and apply it by combining these various different micropowders, these biopowders. We infuse them into a hospital-grade silicone band. It's worn similar to like a bracelet or a band, like a watch band type setup with a little clasp at the end. And then there's a metal plate on the top that's a little bit on the decorative side. So you have a choice of a color band. You have a choice of a different type of a metal plate. And then on the underside of the plate, we have 4 different chips. One chip is a special magnet, very strong magnet. The other is a infrared chip. Then we have a chip that's natural tourmaline, and another chip that is natural germanite. The tourmaline and the germanite generate the negative ions, as well as you get it from the band. Of course, when you wear the band on your wrist, as soon as you put it on, you can wear it in the ocean, you can wear it in the shower. It's completely waterproof and water resistant. So once you have it on, you leave it on, And of course, because the blood through your veins and your arteries pass over your wrist in a closed format, eventually all that blood, a few times an hour, pass over or under the bio band. And then the various different health attributes start to influence the blood passing over. So it'll warm the blood up. It will create a little detox. It will offer more harmonics and energetics to the system. The longer you wear it, the more cumulative the health benefit is. And we've gotten some really great results from that in terms of people really enjoying it. They're very decorative. You can wear some even to a black tie event, or you can wear it out with your blue jeans or cut-off shorts, and for sportwear. And it's a great, fun item that adds again an additional health benefit to the body.
Yeah, and you have it's healing jewelry. It's very nice. The other thing is, I know you were involved with your company with far storage containers. Can you explain that? Is that where the minerals are in the containers, like I'm going to call it a plastic container, any of that type thing, meaning food storage or clothing storage?
Yeah, that was also another fun. What happens with me is once I develop a certain application, like the battery application took us more than 24 months to develop the proper ratio of charge to discharge on the battery-operated technology. So what we like to do is we like to have a battery charge for an hour. 1 to 4 is the ratio. So you charge it for an hour and it discharges for 4 hours. So we actually started applying the battery technology for to make an office chair, which we'll discuss in a minute or so.
Mm-hmm.
With the biofusion, this Therasage application, once I discovered the healing powers of these micro powders, I started to think, well, wow, what else could I put this in? I've got it in a band. I can suspend it in a solution and add it to a textile. And so it occurred to me that many of us, we store our foods, we store our coffees, our teas, we store our many of our vitamins and our medicines. We store in containers of some sort, and it might be nice to see exactly how the infrared application could help in that matter. So what we did was we developed a container. It comes in 2 sizes, and it's sold as a kit. So you get a pint and a quart size. In the lid of the canister is actually a suction device with a little lever that you can actually pull about 80% of the air that's retained in that canister out. So it kind of works similar to the way a freeze-dried application is, that those
mm-hmm.
devices that suck the air out of the bag,
Right.
So many of the reasons why things start to decay is because they oxidize. It's the effect of oxygen and how that oxygen molecule affects the carbon-based material that you're storing, whether it be a plant or a food source or a vitamin or mineral, a supplement. So by suctioning out 80% of that air, we're already extending the life of whatever is in that container. That same suction device makes the lid on the container, aside from being airtight, it makes it solid so it doesn't come apart. In the lid of the container, there's a day-date device, so you can actually put in or instruct the lid of the canister so that you can see exactly when you put the item inside. It has a rose-colored outside, or the container is rose-colored, and that's on purpose so that the UV light also that will influence the decay of any materials that are inside is filtered out. So what we're doing is we're filtering out UV frequency, we're taking out the oxygen, and then the infrared material, the bioceramic that's infused in the PBA-free plastic of the container, that's influencing the other 20% of the oxygen that's inside that canister. It's actually shrinking or compressing that oxygen molecule. Again, it's influencing it in a way that will prolong the life of whatever you put in it. Another attribute of it, whether it's important or not, is that virtually almost anything you put inside that canister, you cannot smell on the outside. So oftentimes when we bring that out for people to see, I'll have a bag of coffee beans, fresh organic coffee beans, inside the canister. And without shaking the canister, Dr. Hildy, I just put it to your nose and I say, what do you smell? I wait a minute or two, and then, of course, when they shrug their shoulder and they go, I can't smell a thing, I then unlock with the valve, I unlock the air that's been sucked out, and then all of a sudden the aromatics of this natural organic coffee bean comes into the air, and within minutes the room smells, from the coffee. And then everybody goes, wow, I can't believe that we couldn't smell that before when it was inside. So these are some of the features. It's a fun application. Again, it's helping, the whatever you're storing in that container to have a longer life. Anecdotally, you probably know when you cut an avocado in half and it's kept into the open air, within a minute or so, or within the first hour at least, it starts to get a little brown, spotted. That's just showing signs of decay or that oxidation that we talked about.
Right.
That same avocado could last a week or maybe even more when it's put inside this canister and it's used. So it's a pretty fun application. It works great, and one that we're really proud of and happy to bring to the market.
Yeah, because I know they can, when they're designed properly, these technologies for food storage and enhancement of it so it doesn't degrade as fast, it's highly beneficial. So you don't have to waste the food and throw it out, but it also revitalizes because that energy would be also in that food, and you can taste it or you will experience more bioactivity within your body.
Yeah, it's very important to keep those enzymes alive, because we're a live source, and if you bring live enzymes to the body, through a natural food source, keeping that food source alive, it just the nutritional benefit is so much greater for the body. It's amazing.
Right, and I want to bring out that many individuals, we made chicken, we may worked in the yard, we may have used this product early on, or our grandparents, and it might be as a white powder in the home, meaning in a garage or something, especially if you have your grandparents' home, which was arsenic, and its various forms of arsenic, especially in Florida, in the phosphate mines. Pardon me, they found a lot of arsenic in the properties, and that because during the Civil War, bodies were buried, even though they were in Florida, the standard procedure was to put 5 pounds of arsenic in the body and bury it. So there's deposits in the soil that can accumulate and get into the water, etc. But what is important is that arsenic, especially if you're an O blood type that comes from Basque country, you're more prone to having diabetes genetically. But the thing is, one of the finding chemical that is associated with that from a preventive toxicology standpoint is arsenic accumulating in the kidney and also in the pancreas area. What is important with it, with infrared and any of this application that we discussed, even with the castor oil packs and the bentonite clay cake batter mixture, Robby, is that people can use these sources, these tools, to help relieve the accumulation. Everybody thinks of arsenic as a poison, and people do die from it, gastrointestinal, but primarily, if you survive it or you get a low dose over time, it accumulates in our skin. And when you're in sunny areas where you're getting exposed to UVB, you will be more prone to skin cancer. And in tissues, they have found that had melanoma, that it had high amounts of arsenic. So as I question, well, did the arsenic cause it or the sun rays? And more than likely, it was the arsenic combined in that tissue that caused, a chemical reaction. But it's very important that you use these products to help clean the toxins from your skin. As you pointed out, Robby, the sweat had more accumulation of pesticides in it. And I imagine if they did analysis of that sweat, they also would find heavy amounts of chemicals. And why arsenic is it's a heavy metal, but it's so different than the others because it loves to bind readily to the oxygen within your body. That's
Wow.
why you lose it fast. And
and it just seems like, again, us being, just depending on the area, the demographic of the country that we live in, to be exposed to that and not necessarily know it. And then just in your normal lifestyle, like you talk about, all of a sudden now, you activate these dormant toxic loads that the body has retained just by being in a particular area that you live in is suggests more so how important it is that we spend a little bit more time focusing on ways we can help the body get rid of these environmental and biotoxins that we store.
Right, and it's so important, and why I love products like yours and other guests that I've had on my show that have beautiful products that are economically feasible, but it allows one to have these tools in your home that aid not only yourself to get well, if you have been sick for a long time or that, but also your family members and your pets, because there are so many times that individuals will get exposed to mold and their pets are affected, or you may have water intrusion like what happened with the flooding in New York and in New Jersey. Houses were destroyed, but at the same time, until they got the insurance payments to relocate and get exposed, a new home or a new residence or anything, because so many individuals are bound by paycheck to paycheck, you didn't have the tools to clean it out, or at the same time to repair your body.
Right. And sure, and we couldn't avoid. These are all acts of God. I mean,
right.
When no one could have anticipated the amount of and the frequency of these events that are occurring that are affecting all of our communities here. Right.
And the thing is, though, what I like is that you can have your own home care, your own education within this realm of innovative technology, so that you can help yourself and help your community within, even if it's just the neighbor next door, if they're open to it. The other thing is, you touched on it a little bit, and we were going to come back to it, was a chair you developed, which I feel is very important, not only for ergonomic design and use in the workplace, but also with many males experiencing prostate cancer, the way the chair is and even the pads allowing to detox in the lower extremity area and the lower spinal tailbone area so that the toxins can be released.
Right. Last time you mentioned about how they accumulate near the tailbone and also at the base of the skull. Those two areas are highly concentrated, potentially, with toxic loads. We had so much fun developing the office chair application. It's one of my favorite ones here. It comes in what they call knockdown, a small box. You can put it together. I think it's got 6 or 8 different little screws and bolts that you put it together with, so it's very easy to assemble. It's easy to use because it just has 1 or 2 levers. Some of these chairs they make these days have you need to almost go to graduate school to figure out how to either put it together or how to operate it,
Oh, yes.
So we decided to dummy it down a little bit and make it a very simple application, Dr. Hildy. You can assemble it within 15 minutes or so. It's got a nice, what they call an aerobac design, so it has a fabric that breathes, memory foam, very comfortable to sit on, very easy to operate. And then we have an extended life lithium-ion battery on the back that supports a infrared heating element that sits basically right centered in your lumbar area. So the chair itself has a great ergonomic curvature and design to it. So that if you sit in the chair, right, then it's keeping the posture proper. For people that have chronic back issues, lower back issues, it's a godsend. This is an amazing application, and we're spending way too much time either in the office or in the home office these days.
Right.
So if you're feeling, a pain, you have a pain coming to the back, you just reach around, turn the little battery on. It warms up within a few minutes, and now you're getting this radiant heat that just is filling that lumbar area, taking that stress, taking that back pain away, relieving you of a lot of that tension. Or you know what? Even if it's just been a long day and you just want to feel a little bit more energized, you can, towards the end of the day, you can turn the heat on the chair and then sit back and just, while you're working, just allow that tension to come out of your muscles so that you feel more revived when you go home and you want to be with your family and, with your friends and just enjoy the rest of your evening. It just adds to a much happier workplace and a much, happier, home office environment. It's a great application. It took us a while to get the battery technology in place so that we got the right amount of power to drive the heating element. And then while we were there, we said, okay, as long as we're in the office, what else can we do to enhance that office experience? So what we developed was a really fun application. It's a far infrared foot pad. And so,
yes.
Yeah, normally, or you see very often, a secretary might have one of these ceramic-type heaters that sits under their desk, particularly in the northern states or in the colder parts of the country, to keep them warm. Well, the ceramic heaters, they actually drain your life source. They send out cations, which is a positive charge that charges the body and actually makes you more tired. At the end of the day, no wonder why, you're just so exhausted between the work and the stress and the long hours. You've got this device, this, little ceramic heater that's pulling also additional life source out. So what we did was we made this footrest. It's got memory foam. It's got a little beanbag type device underneath that allows the footrest to float. So when you put your feet on it, you kick your shoes off, so you got your socks on or maybe even barefoot. It has two different low and a high heat setting. There's a little foot pedal so that when you turn the foot pad on, it gives you a 2-hour session, and I'll tell you why that's important, because oftentimes you're called away or you leave the office and you forget to turn the device off. So it automatically times out after 2 hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so now you're sitting in your chair, you've got your back warmed up, you've got your shoes kicked off, and you've got your feet on the footrest. You're bringing great, healthy heat to your feet. We've got a few clients that are reflexologists and doctors of feet. One called
podiatrist. Yeah.
Well, he's a podiatrist, but we have another guy that's a specialist. He calls himself a foot whisperer. He's known around the country, and he treats people with many different ailments through making that proper connection from the brain all the way down to by stimulating the feet. It's really amazing, the stuff that he does. And he likes to use the foot pad just to warm the body up, create a reflexology event, and bring that infrared into the feet, improve the circulation to the lower extremity. Of course, you can just visualize what it's like during, having it in the workplace, and having the foot pad working in conjunction with your office chair allows you to actually sit properly. It gives you the proper anatomical position to be sitting, so it aids with the ergonomics of the chair. Together, in concert, it's a great combination to improve, your home office or your office place. It's just been really, really a fantastic addition to our development of product line here.
And I know with using infrared heat and far infrared on the feet, it allows it to open up and detox. So I know, too, from my experience with individuals using it, clients and patients, that there may be in the early stages of its use, not only to keep you warm and increase your circulation, but you may have odor come from your feet as it's opening up, and as the skin becomes softer in that area, because calluses basically, if you're not walking on a hard road and building up the tissue that way to make a callus, then the calluses are being formed to wall in the toxins and dumping to your extremities. That's why you have more odor in your feet.
Interesting, very interesting. I wanted to mention, and we mentioned it last time, but for all of the viewers, when you come to the Therasage website, if you use the promotional code that you gave us, which is Portals, PORTALS 33, Portals 33, if you put that promo code in, then all of your viewership will get an automatic discount off of all the products that we talk about today and that you see on the Therasage site, either ones that we have today that we've talked about and even the ones in the future.
Oh, that's wonderful. They will greatly appreciate it, and I personally appreciate your generosity that way, not only as a CEO, but as also the company Therasage, because it means a lot to our viewing audience, and I appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome. I know that we are very keen on developing products that are easily understood, that you don't need a big manual to figure out how to use it, and that are affordable. This technology, everyone should have something like this in their arsenal of daily activities, just to help revive themselves and keep themselves somewhat at an even keel with all the other environmental influences that break us down and make us unhealthy and all that. We keep talking about, or I keep mentioning the healing pad to you, but we haven't really talked that much about it. It's one of our most popular products and a cornerstone of our development products here at Therasage. And what's unique about them is that they're a flexible format. Again, they use all of the three frequencies, so they're full spectrum. They're listed with the agencies, the FDA agency, as a medical device. So it's gone through all the testing and all the scrutiny that FDA requires in order for the device to be sold in the U.S. They come in various different sizes and shapes. The minis, there's one that I mentioned earlier that we use for the detox protocol. That's an 8-inch by 10-inch product. There's also one that's kind of football-shaped. We call that the oblong, and that's designed because it's a little bit more pillowy, Dr. Hildy, and it fills the small of your back or the nape of your neck, like that little area, and it's really great. They all of the healing pads, the Instant Karma healing pads, they use the natural jade stone. If you've seen one of these products or even go on our website, the box model happens to be my daughter, who I talk about, with the Lyme. So that's her contribution to the business, which I absolutely love. So she's really great about that. And then the next size, so they come in mini sizes, like I mentioned. All of the products have these extended, very long cords. They're almost 14 feet from the product to the wall, which is amazing. I don't know why some of these other heat pads that you get at Walgreens and so forth, they have these 3-foot cords. You really want to be 3 feet away from your socket when you use this device?
I know.
I never understood that, but it doesn't matter. We decided to change that.
I appreciate that, because I used to give so many extension cords out just as a gift. It was amazing.
So we avoid that, and it's a soft format, a flexible format, so you can sort of fold it over the body, over the hip, over the shoulder, the midsection. It's soft coming out of the box, but it even gets softer after you use it for the first week or two. It's designed so that the infrared frequencies actually come up through the jade stones.
Mm-hmm.
So that you get the natural healing events from these energetically balanced stones. It's fantastic. And, you've made comments time and time again about the power of the healing of the jade and the frequencies and how they intermingle with the body, particularly on the detox side.
They do, and it as having the jade there, it generates a heating up from the rear. It generates a pure far infrared frequency. So they get the added benefits of both and the amplification. And, that little oval shape that you just described, and I've seen the picture of it, not only would think that it would be good for the nape of the neck, but so many children get earaches, or you may have had a dental extraction or wisdom teeth removed or anything, or in the throat area. Just laying with the side of it, I feel that it would be very beneficial in aiding in draining the eustachian tube and the glands that are in that area.
Sure, and not to mention, remember that whole area of the body, the nasal sinuses, the mouth, they're infiltrated with, airborne bacteria and viruses. And so having the frequency is really terrific for the die-off to get rid of all that stuff. So it's really great. Some of the other sizes, they come in a small size, which is 14 inches by 20 inches. That we also make it in an international application so that it can work in both the U.S. current, and it can also work in European countries. So 220 or 110. Yeah, for the international traveler, it's really great.
And audience, I want to add, too, that's very important, because in certain areas in countries, not more so in Europe, but more in the Asian countries, due to their wiring, you may have the right, like 110 or 220, but because of their wiring or whatever they used in their wiring, meaning the metals, the wire, versus copper, it can cause problems. So it's very good that you as a manufacturer are conscious of that.
Right, cool. Now, all of these products, they generate the negative ion, so we like to combine the health effect and healing effect of negative ion working synergistically in concert with the infrared heat. And all these devices, they generate what we say minimal, very low, and in most cases no EMF. So it's not we're generating that bioresonance, that warm, deep, penetrating heat without generating any of the harmful energies, the RF or the EMF frequencies. And that's so critical to bring the optimal health and healing event from these natural devices.
Right, and I know your company, you shared last time on the show and even in conversations with me prior to the show, that your company is really looking at technologies and the developments of increasing ionic fields, ions. So it's more of the presence of that feeling you get after rain or walking on the beach. That is very healing to the body.
Some people know it, or the more modern terms, they call it earthing or grounding.
Mm-hmm.
And the body has that positive charge, and the earth, of course, is negative charge. So if we were, turn back the clock to a few thousand years and we're wearing sandals or walking barefoot, we would actually be touching the ground. We'd be bringing that charge of the earth to neutralize our body, that positive charge of our body. But we're wearing shoes, wearing gym shoes, wearing sneakers. We're basically we're gliding on the Earth's surface, not actually touching the Earth's surface anymore.
Correct.
So we actually have to do things to try to bring that negative ion into our body to create that better communication, that sense of calmness, a sense of well-being. It's really, really important. With this infrared technology, understand that the first 5 to 8 minutes of using infrared, far infrared heat particularly, the body needs to absorb it. It starts to interact right away. But the real therapy is basically starts right away, but it starts to get cumulative after that 6 to 8 minute time frame, depending on the individual. So if you're using a sauna application, it's important, don't cheat yourself. If you're going to be in there, try to work towards that goal of at least 30 minutes of that sauna, because the first 8 minutes you're just soaking up the resonance to get the whole thing going, get that engine started.
Right.
So that only gives you that 20-minute or 22-minute session on 30 minutes if you're pre-warming yourself up,
Right, and it's so important that when you're in the sauna and have that ability to be in one, that you breathe in that air of that sauna, because it will have very good effects on the body. And sometimes I've had individuals cough or expel particulates after breathing in that air, because it's allowing it to come out, the toxin. So it's important to breathe healthy in that sauna too.
Oh, sure. That's so important. And oftentimes, when I'm teaching or I'm presenting to audiences, I say to them, if I was sitting in a movie theater and somebody that I didn't know was right next to me and they were coughing and sneezing, the first thing that comes to mind for me would be, I got to change my seat, because the last thing I want to do is get the germs of this individual, bring them into my body. Now, when it comes to a sauna, the infrared sauna, it's altogether different, because basically no bacteria or viruses can thrive, can live in that sauna. So if I were using my sauna either in a communal setting, maybe at a gym or at a health resort of some kind, or maybe even among my family, if my kid was sick from school and they were using the sauna, which actually brings up a point. If they're little people, when they're using infrared, can use infrared technology, but their systems respond much quicker. So if you've got a child that's using sauna or infrared healing pad, you just would use it at a lesser temperature or for a lesser time, almost half that you would for an adult, to get the same therapeutic event. So you just want to make sure that you're conscious of they don't need as much or for as long to get that same therapy. Now, when it comes to sauna, what can I catch from you, Dr. Hildy? If you were in the sauna before me and we were in a public setting, let's say, and you were sitting on that bench and you left some of your sweat on that bench, remember earlier we said 85% more toxin in that one drop of sweat.
That's
so that
true.
poison is sitting on that chair. And if I sat on that chair, potentially I wouldn't be worried about catching your cold or catching a germ, because no germ can live in that cabin, but I might potentially catch some of your toxin. So it's really a great idea when you're using sauna to infrared sauna to maybe bring a hand towel or wrap yourself in a towel, and then as you're sweating, just keep pulling that sweat off of your body, wipe that sweat off of your body to keep that toxin from reabsorbing. It's a great tool. It's easy to do, and we highly recommend that along with the treatment. Another thing, too, that I meant to mention earlier, it's very, very important to hydrate more than you normally would do when you're using infrared frequency. Maybe 6 to 8 ounces of water before the sauna, again another 6 to 8 ounces after, within an hour after the sauna, because you're pulling those toxins out of the body. You're pulling them out of that stored area. If you're doing a heavy metal detox or you have a chronic condition, we like to see you at a even hotter than 140-degree temperature, and try to stay in there as much as an hour as a protocol, just to get those deep metals out, heavy metals out. So again, you're going to be sweating more. You're pulling out salts. You're pulling out minerals. You're pulling out electrolytes. So maybe once or twice a week, you want to put a drop of these trace minerals back into the body, into your water supply, so you replenish some of these very important minerals to have in order for your body to, all of your organs and your endocrine system to work properly.
Correct, and that's a very important point because so many people are experiencing adrenal fatigue, and when it's in severe area of the body, if you just touch your waistline and it's very sensitive in that area, you're experiencing that. But as you use your sauna or a pad, you will find that it's increasing that circulation and that sensitivity is less and less. And definitely using that, because you could use that emu pain cream and put it on the body and then use one of the pads or the sauna, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So what's nice about the cream is you can use it when you can't take the pad with you, on the go, and you can also use it along with the pad, if you really need that relief right away. So there's many different applications, and it's just very versatile and easy to use. Earlier you touched upon your little pets, and we had a great experience, a fun thing that happened. We have these two little teacup dogs at home, same breed. One's a female, one's a male. We keep them in bed with us, of course. I'm sure there's some reason why we shouldn't be doing that, but they're part of my family. If my kids were still young, they'd be in bed with us too, So these little pets, they love this heating pad, where normally one would be at the foot and the other one would be at the head. As soon as I turn that pad on in the evening, they both jump on it like king of the hill, and it's a small pad, so it's 14 inches by 20. So you got one on one side of it, one on the other. They won't give up ground. They just absolutely love this infrared frequency. You may have experienced this. I think you say, don't you have a few cats at home?
Yeah, I have a cat, yes.
Yeah, you have a cat. And so many of the viewers that have animals, they experience when they open up the shades in the morning that the cats or the dogs get up from their pet beds or where they rest at night, and they gravitate to the sunlight, and then they find themselves kind of rolling around and basking in it, Well, what they're doing is they're recharging their infrared batteries in their bodies. Now, I know that my dogs do this. I didn't train them to do this. They know it inherently. What makes these animals so smart? It's amazing. They know that they need it, and it's a natural healing event, and they get it charged up. Really, basically, we only need about 30 minutes of this frequency each day to be healthy. So, and that's, for normal use. Of course, if you've got an extenuating health challenge, then we have different of these applications that we've hit upon. But from our experience with our own dogs, we decided to make an application for the pet. We call it a pet pad. It's an infrared pad. It's got a great design to it. It uses a step-down transformer so that the power isn't the direct current from the socket. So if you've got an aggressive pet and they decide to chew through the power cord, they won't get hurt. It's got only 24 volts, so it's really safe in that regard. It's also water resilient, so that if the dog happens to make a mistake or the cat on their pet bed, any fluids or liquids get around, it won't harm the product, nor will it harm the animal. And there's another special application we made where you can unplug it from the power source, on your home use, and plug in another little device that allows you to plug it into your cigarette lighter, so that if you're on the go and you're going on a road trip and you have your animal with you, you can bring the pad along and set up shop in the back seat or somewhere and plug the pad in, and they're enjoying the ride as well as the adults or the kids in the car. So it's really been a fun application, and we're glad to add it to the line because many people, they really do as much for their pets as they do for their kids and their other friends and families, and they're part of the family. So, and they get older and they get joint pain, and they just can't complain about it as much as we can, but they're still feeling it, and it's just a joy for us to bring this infrared technology to the pet world as we have in this particular application.
Yes, and I know, too, older cats, and I know dogs, too, but I had my daughter has a cat, Deacon, and that cat is 15 years old, but it loves to get in its far infrared. And if any other cat comes by or anybody comes by, it's not going to share it. So I think it's very nice how they know. They know.
Really great.
Yeah. Now, in summation, because we're coming up on the hour, Robby, have you anything else to add? You shared so much with the audience and myself in reference to infrared technology and the multiple uses of it and the various products. You mentioned earlier that the TheraFusion water filtration system, et cetera, will that be available soon? Because I know you're always inventing over.
Yeah, we try to bring a couple of products, 2 to 3 products each year to the marketplace. So this will be one of our newest applications, and it's being made now. So it's looking that we're probably within the next 3 months it will be available to the public. We're also looking at a commercial application for more home use, maybe a whole home application. The current 2 models that we have now, one is the one I mentioned earlier that would go right in the refrigerator. The other one is a tabletop model that just has a little hookup that will fit any faucet in the home. And then you can just apply this little water switch. You turn one switch, it goes through the faucet. You turn the switch the other way, it brings the water flow into the water filter, and then it then comes into your house. We're available all the time, Dr. Hildy, for questions that your viewership may have on using infrared technology. So feel free to contact us on our website, call in directly. Of course, call you and filter any calls through to us in any way that we can help the general public get to understand more about how they can use this natural healing technology to really improve their general health and wellness. This is what we're destined and determined to do.
And I appreciate it greatly. And I want to wish you well, Robby, and thank you very much for being on the show again.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Audience, God bless, and see you next week.
You've been listening to the Dr. Hildy Show on the One Cell, One Light Radio Network. For the other half of today's show, or to view all of our shows archived for your immediate-free download, please visit OneCellOneLightRadio.wordpress.com. This is Mark the Arcturian speaking for the Dr. Hildy Show, a One Cell, One Light Radio production.